Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this lab for budgeting and forecasting. The first thing you have to do is get this spreadsheet, which I've started. That's got, and I'm just going to rename this to forecasting. This is what your spreadsheet will look like. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 3-period moving average. The whole point of this is that you are at the edge of period, you're at the end of period 12 looking into period 13, and you need to figure out what's my best estimate as to what my sales are going to be next month, given the historical sales that I've seen that I have listed here. There's different methods of doing it. 3 different methods: 3-period moving average, exponential smoothing, and then a technique called linear regression. I'm going to show you how to make a forecast using all 3 methods, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pick the method that gives the best period forecast for period 13. Okay, so so first of all, to get the 3-period moving average, we go like this: equal sign average, and our estimate is the best forecast for period 13 is the values averaged of period 10, 11, and 12, averaging 5504, 5810, and 6100. When I press enter, that puts the value in. Okay, so now I have one estimate. This is my 3-period moving average estimate for period prediction for period 14. Now we're going to do exponential smoothing, and the way you do that is just follow this along mechanically. Is we have to start with a value. So for period 2, we're going to go back. We have to go back historically and do some calculations here, which unlike what we did in the 3-period moving average. So to do these calculations, we first start off with go to the cell here, F as in Frank 5, and take the period 1 forecast. That's called a naive forecast, and we're going to determine how wrong this was if we had have used it back in period 2, when that's called the exponential smoothing forecast error. Okay, then we're going to use this formula and copy it all the way down to the other guys. We're going to take the first previous period forecast plus, and the actual question said to use a smoothing constant of 0.40 multiplied by -70. See that? And then I'm going to take this error, and it's the same formula, so I'm just going to copy it down. Now I've got a pattern that I can copy all the way down to my last row here, and this is the value that I would use using exponential smoothing in order to guess as to what sales would be in period 13. You can get to put your mouse on cell G16 and just delete the value. Okay, so now we have 2 choices, this figure and this figure. Let's look at the other choice that we might have, and that's called linear regression. To do that, you go like this: insert, and now highlight everything here from 1 to 12 in the sales value as well, the actual sales value. Go to insert, and then click on this right here, the scatter plot. And that gives us what linear regression would look like. This is what the data is all. It's called a scatter plot, and we're going to see if whether or not this has got a pattern, an upwards pattern in it, and it does. So that means this is probably the best method to forecast with, because it shows the upward trend in the data. I'm going to click on plus, and I'm going to go trend line, and that puts the trend line on it. And then I'm also going to put my mouse right on that dotted trend line, left click, and then right click again and go to format trend line. And I'm going to go over to here to the right, because the screen should pop up, format trend line, display equation on chart. That's the equation of the line, and you can see that it fits it a lot better. These others are just taking like flat averages, and they don't fit very well at all. Okay, so now, so this is what I've written in here. The conclusion is, okay, and also you want to put a title on there: regression analysis. Now the next thing you want to do, I'm going to draw, I just wrote this in here. The regression method is better for forecasting because it takes into account the trend upward in sales historically. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sales forecast for period 13 using regression. And the way I do that is I use this regression equation line. And what I do is I go the slope, well, that's equal to the value that's right before the x, 317.86. The the intercept is this value right here, 2347.6. My x value for the equation, which is the period number, is equal to 13. Remember, we're trying to do a forecast for period 13. So our forecast for period 13 is this slope multiplied by 13 plus this one, 6480. Of the three methods we used, this regression method is the best because it's predicting that right here, that this line will continue, and right here, which is period 13, see how 13 is right up above there? That value is a little over 6,000, like 6480. That's where our best estimate, and that's because this line fits the data the best. And that's how I would do this assignment. So what we did was we did a 3-period moving average to predict period 13, got 58,805. We then did exponential smoothing at 5682. And then we'd used a line and tried to fit a line and found that this line fit really, really well to this data. And so we used this equation of the line in order to make a period forecast for period 13. And this is my best forecast, best period. Forecast for period 13 would be this value, 6480, because it is based on this regression analysis that fits the data the best. Okay, so this whole thing right here is what I would complete on the spreadsheet, and I would give that to my professor.